Hi and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about this Ethernet IP tool. It's a really nice tool provided by the company Molex. This tool is called EIP_tools. As I mentioned, this is developed by Molex. You can download it from their website. Just Google it and you should find it. And we're going to be using this in conjunction with a Festo CPX terminal. You can see it here on your screen. And this terminal, what I have here is I have this first module, which is a CPX-FB36. Let me pull up this document so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the CPX-FB36, and it's this module right here. So this module right here is this one that you can see here. This is the name, and this is made by Festo. Then the second module on the terminal, it's a 4-digital output module. And what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to play with a few objects, Ethernet IP objects. So first we're going to start with process data. So we're going to turn on the digital outputs, and then we're going to change some system parameters from the whole CPX terminal. So let's get started. Let's make this smaller so you can see better the screen. And first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through this document and look for the technical appendix and look for Ethernet IP objects right here, section 6.3, page 76. Scroll down, and here you're going to see a lot of useful information. I'm not going to explain everything, but I said that we're going to start by manipulating the process data, specifically the outputs. So let's look for the outputs here. QoS, TCP/IP, Ethernet link object, objects for the I/O connection. Here we go. Section 6.3.3, output data, instance 100. So let's look for that. Instance 100 right here. Go down. Here we go. So in the instance 100 on the output, it says object 103, instance and attribute. So let's start with the object 103. That object 103, it's going to go in the class. And before I go into this configuration, the service here, we have these different types of services. I'm only going to use the get attribute single, so basically a read, and the set attribute single. This is basically a write, in other words. So I'm going to set this set attribute single for writing. And then we set the object was 103, that's in decimal. So we have to convert to hex. And I have this here already. 103, it's a 67 hex. So 67 hex. And then it says here, the instance, it's equal to the module number plus 1. And the way that the numbering works in these modules is this first module is 0 and this one is 1. So if we consider that the output module is 1, it says here that the instance is going to be to the module number plus 1. So that's going to be module number 1 plus 1, it's equals to 2, right? So we're going to put a 2 number here in the instance. So that's a 2. And then the attribute. And the attribute says that that's the channel number. So in this case, I have 4 channels because I have 4 outputs. So let's do the first channel, which would be 1 here. And then we're going to write a value of 1, which is a true. That's a Boolean value. And then send the request. I'm gonna click send request, but first let me make this bigger so you can see. So you're going to see once I hit that there's going to be an LED come up here. So let me hit that, send request. There's the first output. If I want to switch the second output, I just change the attribute to 2, send request. There's the second output, third output, send request, 4 output, send request. And let's make them all 0. So 4, and then third output, second output, and 1 output to 0. That's easy. That's how we can control the output process data. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are some parameters on this terminal, right? And we go back to that PDF. I wanna change the, for instance, let's have a look at what we have available here. there's a software, and you don't need this, but I'm just going to show this software for visualization. But this is a pretty good software from Festo that you can use. It's called CPX Festo Maintenance Tool, and this is going to allow you to see physically what I'm going to change. But if you were doing this programmatically, you would just send this via, an explicit message, right? Anyways, in this case, we're going to go into the CPX system settings. And I guess for people that don't know how to use this software, let me just open it up again, Festo Maintenance Tool. So you open the software, and it's pretty simple to use. You just type in the IP address, or you can do a scan. So establish online connection to the Vault terminal. Right now I already have the IP address, but otherwise you can do the search, click on it, and then next, finish, and it establishes the connection. So I go to CPX system settings. Under system settings, I have some system parameters, and these are some of the parameters that I'm going to try to change today. Let's work specifically on this one that says force mode. So let's look up that force mode, and it's gonna be further down under, let's keep going. It's gonna be here, global system object, object class 132 decimal. So let's change that now. 132 decimal is 84 hex. So let's change that to 84 hex over here. 84 hex. And then we need the instance and the attribute. So let's look for that force mode. Just keep going down. Notice that all of this are, the axis is get. So you can only do a read for all of these ones that are listed here, these attribute numbers. Let's look for a get set. These two, these are read and write. And we want this force mode right here. So we want the attribute number 11, attribute number 11, and actually we're missing the instance. The instance, it's a constant, and it's further up. Forgot to mention it, it's right here. So the instance is 1. Let's change the instance to 1. And now let's try writing a value. And it says on the manual, if we go to the instance 11 right here, it says that force mode 0 is blocked or disabled and 1 is enabled. And currently it says that it's disabled, right? So let's try to change it to enabled, which would be a value of 1. So let's type in a 1 here, and then we're gonna make this bigger. Once I hit send request, we should see a yellow light blink like around here, right around there. Once I hit this send request. So let's do that. Send request, and there is the yellow light. That indicates that yellow light physically on the module. There's an M on it, and it says that there's a modification. So now, if I go back here to the CPX, the Festo maintenance tool, and I do a refresh, you're going to see that now this is enabled. So that's how you could programmatically access all of these values if you wanted to, right? So let's switch that back to 0 just to make sure that we have control over this. Send request. There we go. Let's leave that enabled, and let's take this exercise further in depth and try to force an output. How would we force an output? So let's make this smaller again. To force an output, we need to go up here, and then we need to look for the force assembly objects. Let's see, it's further up or further? No, it's here. So it says here, discrete force state object and discrete output force mode object for discrete outputs. So that's what we want. We're gonna see what's this 111. First we need to change the mode, 111 decimal. Let's see what that is. Calculator, programmer calculator, 111 decimal is a 6F hex. So we're gonna do a 6F here, 6F, and then the instances, it says 1 to 48. And what's the assembly on this? Let's see, instances. Okay, instance. Let's leave it at. Let me check here. 148. Let's try the module number, which would be at 2. And then the attribute, let's leave it at 1. And in order for us to see that, let's go to this module and then force mode, and let's see if this gets enabled once we make that change. So let's write a 1. We wrote it. Let's refresh here. There it is. So you saw that this got the check mark, and now let's force that output, and we're gonna do that by. So what we modified just now was a number 111 here, or hex 6F, which was this one. This is the mode, and now we have to change the state of that output. So that would be a 110, which is going to be a 6E, right? So once 110, it's a 6E hex. So let's change that to 6E, sorry, 6E. Instance 2, remember, is the module number, and then attribute 1 is the first output. Send the request. And now you saw, if you paid attention, you saw that this output switched on, that one right there. So let's refresh this, and you see now the force is on. So that's how you can access you know, using this software. I found it pretty useful because it allows you to, you know, do explicit messaging directly from here. You can also do some other stuff which might be useful, like you can, you know, get all of these attributes for the identity of the device. So this will tell me the type of device, you know, the TCP/IP configuration too. You can also see it here, you know, my IP address and so on. So it's a pretty good tool. Thanks for this company. Thanks to this company for sharing it, you know, making it available to everyone. Hopefully it's useful for you. And yeah, see you in the next one.